Hey, church. I hope you're doing well. Have you ever made assumptions about people based on the car that they drive? Played that game where somebody rolls up to a red light and you try to figure out who they are and what's important to them? For instance, a minivan pulls up and you see a middle-aged lady in the front and you think, soccer mom, that's what's important to her. Getting her kids to soccer, hopefully getting the scholarship, maybe getting them in the Ivy League school. That's a soccer mom there. And then they pull away and they got the decal on the back. Proud soccer parent. And you go, eh? The next car pulls up and you can't even see over top of the tires. The truck's so high. It's got the big diesel exhaust going out the bed and you think, redneck. All that guy cares about is country music and beer. That's what's important to him. And then he pulls away and it says, all I care about is country music and beer on the back of his truck. And you go, uh-huh. I knew what he was about, just based on the car that he rode. I can tell. I can tell what people and what's important to them based on their ride. Just the other day, we were at Best Buy and we were there to look for something and we saw this Mercedes pull in. The thing was sweet. It's like a couple $100,000 car. And it parked, back in the side, over in that please don't touch my car zone. And we watched the car back in and we were thinking, wonder what this person's about. And we kind of guessed, mid-age crisis. It's a guy who wants to feel younger, gonna get out, thinking that he's pretty cool, maybe a doctor, a lawyer, or something like that. But I bet he's going through a midlife crisis. Sure enough, middle-aged guy got out of the car with his silver hair and his gold chain, walked into Best Buy. We knew it. Going through a difficult time in your life, are you, fella? But we make these judgments, based on exterior things, based on cars and all kind of stuff. And it reminded me of a passage in Matthew. This is a teaching from Jesus. It comes in Matthew chapter 7. We'll start in verse 3. It says, why do you look at the speck of sawdust in your brother's eye and pay no attention to the plank in your own eye? How can you say to your brother, let me take the speck out of your eye, when all the time there is a plank in your own eye? You hypocrite, first take the plank out of your own eye, and then you will see clearly to remove the speck from your brother's eye. Just before this, he says, don't judge others, or you too will be judged. But this is what we do. We have a tendency to do this as people. We look at others and the things that they own, or the way that they dress, or the way that they appear, or the car that they drive, and we make these decisions. We see the vehicle and we think, you don't even go to church on Sunday. You're too busy playing soccer. You're too busy sitting in your camp chair cheering on your kid. How dare you? Or you spend all your money on that car so you can look younger. How dare you? Meanwhile, we got, a log coming out of our own eye. This last week, I did something that I never do. I mean, rarely ever do I do this thing. I can't even remember the last time I did it. But I washed my car. The dirt was thick. It was way past time. Usually we just do this organic car wash. It's called Rain, free. When it happens, it just cleans everything off, and that's typically good enough for me. But I know that if you pulled up to me and I was sitting at a red light and you were playing that game, you would look at my car normally and you would think, slob. That dude is a dirty pig. He can't care for a thing. And look at the way he treats his vehicle. If he treats his car that way, can you imagine how he takes care of himself? He should be ashamed. Look at that. Somebody even wrote it's dirty on the back. Why hasn't he washed that thing off? Has he no dignity? What's wrong with him? And some of those things might sort of be accurate, but it's not the full picture. You see, when you see me pull up at the red light and you see all the dirt at the back of my car, what you don't realize is that I live on a dirt road. It's gravel to get out of here and dirt beyond that. I washed my car, I drove down the driveway, and it looked like I haven't touched the thing for months. It's kind of pointless. I would have to wash the car before I left, and then I'd have to go through a car wash after I leave, and then I'd have to wash the car again when I pulled back home. Every time I drive up and down the driveway, it gets filthy. And so I figure, why bother? Why make the pretense of having a clean car? Because it's never, ever going to be clean unless I just park it here. And then what good is having a car that's just parked here clean? Does me no good. So I am a dirty car driver. But if you looked at me and you saw that, you would think that I'm careless and sloppy and that I don't care for things or people well. And that's the problem. We make these judgments about others without knowing the whole story, without knowing the full account. The gentleman that we saw at Best Buy, I don't know his life. I don't know how hard he's worked to buy that vehicle. I don't know his family history. I don't know a thing about him other than that he has a really nice car. But there I am making a judgment based on a perception that I have that probably isn't even true. You know, it's like I'm sitting in my car with the dirt caked on, with my eyes blinded, not really being able to see, and I'm trying to get the little speck of dirt off of his windshield. It doesn't work like that. Jesus says, take the log out of your own eye and then help your brother out. Clean your own car, get your own vehicle looking nice before you help another person with theirs. I think the point is that not that we can't help others and not that we can't assist to get out the specks, but we need some self-reflection too, to recognize that the snap judgments that people make about us aren't accurate and don't show the whole picture, and the things that we make about others don't either. I'm reminded of this with this mask situation. There's kind of two different lines of thought with them, and we can make judgments based off of them. There's a group that thinks the masks are pointless, and you see somebody wearing a mask and you think, sheep, you're a follower. Don't you know that you're being duped? That mask is doing you no good, sucker. And we make judgments on people because of that. And then there's another group of people that find the masks to be important, and they see somebody without a mask and think, you don't care about me. You don't care if I get sick. You're irresponsible. I can't believe you're acting like that. How don't you have a mask on? And we have this category where we're split up and we form these opinions like that based on one simple thing, without knowing the whole truth, without hearing the story, without having conversation with anybody or getting to know what's going on in someone's life. Judge not, yet lest ye be judged. Remove the log, clear off the dirt from your own eyes before you help out another. It reminds me, of having junk in my eyes before. That's a personal and a close thing to allow somebody to poke in there and get a bug out. To get up close in your business and remove your stuff, it requires some relationship and trust. And I think that's what Jesus wants for us too. To get to know people, to look past the outward appearances, to look past the cars that they ride, to look past whether they're wearing a mask or not, and to get to know someone before you can help. And as the Lord cleanses you and heals you and works within your own life, He'll use you to work within someone else's as well. So, friend, I ask this week, where are you judging? Where are you casting stones? Where are you boxing people into things before you know the whole story? And how might you proceed differently? Also, where in your life do you need some logs removed? Ask the Lord to show you things that you're unaware of, that problems might be addressed, that you might be more like Jesus, and that you might be able to help others be more like him too. For his sake and glory. Amen.